the first things that beginning readers learn is the letters of the alphabet and the sounds associated with those letters. They use this knowledge of letter sounds to decode or read words. To decode, one must blend sounds together. So, to be useful for decoding, the letter sounds we teach children must be blendable. Sounds such as ba and ga are not blendable. As teachers, we really need to think carefully about how we model letter sounds for children. I'm going to demonstrate a blendable pronunciation for each letter of the alphabet. I'll just say the most common sound for each letter because that's what children need to learn first. Ready? Here goes. The most common sound for A is the short A, as at the beginning of apple or in the middle of sat. The sound for B is B, as at the beginning of ball or the end of web. The most common sound for C is K, as at the beginning of cat. The sound for D is D, as at the beginning of dog or the end of red. The sound for E is as at the beginning of egg or the middle of pet. The sound for F is as at the beginning of fan or the end of if. The most common sound for G is G, as at the beginning of go or the end of tag. The sound for H is H, as at the beginning of hat. The sound for I is I, as at the beginning of itch or the middle of bit. The sound for J is J, as at the beginning of jug. The sound for K is K, as at the beginning of kite. The sound for L is L, as at the beginning of little. The sound for M is M, as in the beginning of must or the end of hum. The sound for N is N, as at the beginning of no or the end of fun. The sound for O is ah, as at the beginning of October or the middle of hot. The sound for P is P, as in the beginning of pan or the end of hop. The sound for Q is Q, as in the beginning of queen or quiet. The sound for R is R, as at the beginning of read. The sound for S is S, as in the beginning of sun or the end of bus. The sound for T is T, as at the beginning of tip or the end of set. The sound for U is as in the beginning of up. The sound for V is V, as in the beginning of vest or the final sound in dive. The sound for W is W, as in the beginning of wet. The most common sound for X is X, such as the final sound in six or the middle of extra. The sound for Y is Y, as the beginning of yellow. The sound for Z is Z, as in the beginning of zoo. Remember, the most important thing when teaching sounds to children is to model blendable sounds.